This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Against what Barry's saying, I think it makes sense. It's not that I make sense. I understand the method behind the madness because they figure, okay, we've made progress on defense. We've made no progress on offense. So let's find the young coach that we can help him build a staff, but a guy that's offensive minded and that knows offense and knows quarterbacks and can build that side of the ball, since this side of the ball is a lot closer. So let's try to maintain continuity here because on that side there is no continuity. So it doesn't matter what you do on that side of the ball, tearing it down and rebuilding. But on the defensive side, it does matter. So philosophically, we stay with the same coaches. We stay with the same kind of drafting scheme because, as you know, if you go 4-3 to 3-4, and then you have to switch up the different defensive linemen, the different linebackers, all these kind of things end up changing. Well, that part they don't want to change. So I understand the method behind the madness of saying, okay, let's maintain the continuity here. Let's fix what is disastrous here. Kind of
Right.
get it.
Right. And so I definitely get the philosophy. Like, I think I've told you on this show, I think that Gerald Alexander is a future star in
Yep.
this league. I think he's a
You,
decent
you and Omar have been very high on Gerald
Yeah,
Alexander.
and so like I usually am not a guy who, position coach, we don't know yet. We haven't seen him when it's actually his gig, but I've talked to him. I've seen just kind of how he flows. And I think that Gerald Alexander is going to be a rock star. In fact, every time I tweet about Gerald Alexander, I get Dolphins fans telling me to shut up so they don't lose the guy. Like, other people in the league don't know this. I'm not just sharing some, dark kept secret that nobody knows. People know Gerald Alexander. He's got to wait for his chance. So that's a guy that I definitely want to keep. The one concern, and I agree that the defense is a lot further and close. The one concern I would have is you're telling your head coach candidates essentially that you're having to keep Tua, you're having to keep your defensive assistants. And so you're essentially handicapping them a little bit. Not saying that's not the right move for both choices, but I also like the idea of giving my head coach a chance to at least make some decisions, So
Right.
I'm not in, I think that it's the right move to keep defensive staff, but I also would love to wait until this guy is hired and let him be in on at least interviewing these guys. Do I want to keep this guy? Do I want to, not? So that's the one part of it I'm not in love with. But overall, I'm with you. I think the defense.
But think about this. Think about this. The guy that's the boss is tortured.
Yeah.
Because he's been here for 20 years and he's watched new coach after new coach that couldn't build staffs, that couldn't get it done.
Right.
So he goes, well, we're going with a new coach. Well, hold on. Let's not make the mistakes we've made in the past. If we're going with the new coach, we all know the new coach is going to struggle to put together staffs because that's kind of the thing. Well, we have our defensive staff in place. Why are we going to ruin that? Why are we going to, what's it called? Upset the cart or whatever. What's that saying or whatever? So, why are we going to do that? Let's keep this intact. Let's keep that continuity. And I think that's kind of, if you're Chris Greer, you're like, man, I've seen this over and over again. All right, if we're going to do it, let's try to shortcut this thing. And I think, just me, after piggybacking on your story, that's what I'm seeing now through the trees.
Right. And one thing I did hear also, giving you guys first on the Big O Show, that Steve Ross is definitely taking a bigger, and it's not a surprise, but Steve Ross is taking a bigger step in this coaching search and trying to be involved in it. And I'm not saying that he hasn't in past years, but I've been told from people that they feel like Ross is having a big hand on this search. And he obviously wants an offensive guy to get to fix this search. I've told you guys before, Chris Greer is a fan of Vance Joseph, of Dan Quinn. These are guys that Chris Greer has a lot of respect for. But as you saw today, Dan Quinn drops out of the hunt. You see Vance Joseph, who, I haven't heard anything yet. Ian tweeted about the 3 candidates who are likely to get second interviews. Vance wasn't included in that group. I'll still be working to see if he's included. But if he's not, then you eliminate pretty much all the defensive candidates who Chris Greer was in love with. And not saying that Chris Greer doesn't love one of these offensive guys, but that's a Steve Ross wanting an offensive guy. So that's something that definitely to watch as you're going about that. Obviously, Steve Ross wants to make this work and get this offense a lot better. So, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. Next week, like I said, I'm going to be at the HBCU Combine. One thing I did hear is that, and I'm not sure if it'll change, but as of yesterday, Chris Greer was actually confirmed to be down there at the HBCU Combine in Mobile. So maybe that changes with the coaching search still going on. But he was scheduled as of earlier this week to be.
He's a scout at heart, bro. He goes through all that stuff. I've run into Chris Greer in the last 20 years in the Las Vegas Football Classic, the Orlando Gridiron, the East West, the Senior Bowl, the Combine. I've seen that guy in all the different all-star games that I've been to.
He definitely is a scout at heart, and I actually appreciate like the HBCU event. I appreciate him giving attention to that because there's not a lot of first-round prospects there, or even day one or day two. But there's players. But I found it interesting that in the middle of a coaching search, that he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go down here." So that kind of goes into the idea that the Dolphins are putting out that, hey, we're taking our time. So obviously you see today that they're putting out the message through people, hey, we're taking our time, we're not in a rush. And so that kind of goes to that. So
this is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.